Okay, guys, welcome back to the podcast. It's Kirsten, and this is the It's Giving Mystical podcast, and this is your podcast for the week ahead, the week of March 27th. And listen, guys, I'm not gonna lie, this energy is weird. Sorry, I wish I could say something better. I actually pulled a bunch of supporting cards because I was like, I don't know, something feels weird here, um, and it just kept getting weirder. Not the best vibe. So I'm going to stick with the original card I pulled, which is the Two of Pentacles. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But I'll do the long form podcast this weekend. That will be Emperor energy and Temperance energy. And those two they seem like they should get along really well. It seems like there should be this, I don't know, natural kind of pacing and rhythm and patience to both of them, but they're actually quite strange bedfellows. They don't quite speak the same language. They don't communicate very well together. So we'll get into that in the podcast, but I guess I want to say to everyone, take it easy. And I know I always say that, but I really mean it this week. I think there's something about the energy exactly, about the energy of this week that is disorienting and at best just feels a little retrograde-y, a little hassly, a little can't quite get the momentum you need, can't quite get traction. And worst case scenario is going to feel just not very calm, not very loving, maybe a little isolating, maybe a little lonely, and less lonely even than like I'm on my own. Any habits you have, any hypervigilance you have around handling it alone is going to come up. And I guess it makes sense. We're moving into these Aries placements where so many planets are going to be in Aries. And we're also moving, if you read up on human design, we're moving into this, I think it's called the age of the sleeping phoenix or something like that. But it's all about authority. It's all about bringing your authority in-house, not outsourcing authority anymore. And there's just something about this that feels like tough love and feels like self-reliance and feels like I can't quite get to a resting place. So the Two of Pentacles, we know this energy, it has to do with balancing earthly energy. So material things, your money, tax season, your money comes up, your body comes up, your resources come up. And there's something about the Two of Pentacles where in its best indication, it's talking about feeling a little overwhelmed. It's feeling like I can't quite catch up. I can't quite get to, again, the other side. There's something about a little bit of a treadmill energy. You're running, and you can't quite catch it. You can't quite cover the distance you want to cover. Can't get traction. And with the Two of Pentacles, we always want to note that's one of the so-called separation cards in tarot. He stands on a great platform. So he's not actually in the environment. He's not actually on the choppy seas, but he's moving like he's on the choppy seas. And even as I'm talking about this, there's a kind of vertigo or disorientation that comes with this energy where if he were juggling on the seas, at least he would feel like he was in situ, is that the word? In the environment. There was something about the environment that he was connected to it. This week in particular, this separation becomes important. We always note that he could stay still. He could take a breath. He could catch his breath. He could stop juggling for a moment. He could get real for a moment. But in this reading of this card, it feels like the separation is even amplified. Like he'd actually be better off on the stormy seas because he'd be like, oh, it's me in the ocean. There's a part of this that's not on me. There's a part of this that's me living in an environment. But here, he can't really blame the environment. He can't really blame the ocean. And he also is disconnected from the environment and the ocean. This is this feeling of kind of isolation or loneliness or just on my ownness. It gives me like a taste in my mouth. And the taste in my mouth is a kind of hopelessness. I know it's harsh, but that's why I kept trying to pull cards and be like, wait, what? Because it feels like this resignation, the sense of it's always going to be like this, the sense of I'm never going to get to the other side. It's a little Debbie Downer For sure. I really do try to hold on to and feel into the possibility, the hope in all of these energies. And I do still feel that here. I know that you'll get to the other side of it. I know there's something about learning how to balance differently, how to manage your resources differently, how to hold it all differently that will be helpful, that you will benefit from. But this week has a little bit of a boot camp feel to it in that it's not going to be particularly pleasant to get through it. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope you just have a week where you're like, I got to do my taxes and pay the bills. And it's just a little trying to make the ends meet and it feels harmless or just annoying. It could just be a week where you feel like, oh, my to-do list is never ending. But there's like this practicality, and this is it. This is what's bothering me. There's a lack of wonder and magic and whimsy to this. Yes, that's what's bothering me. There's hard reality to this energy that feels uninspiring, just dry. That's what I mean about taste in my mouth. I have this like kind of dry metallic taste in my mouth. It just feels like, like a little depressing, a little bit of a resignation. I know I've said that already, but that's the biggest feeling. You get to a point where you're trying to juggle it all, and there's a moment where you come to, you're like, what's the use? And you gotta throw the baby out with the bathwater. Oh, what's the use? In the Two of Pentacles, one of my favorite writers talks about it's like being the mother of twins, right? So you're with one baby and you're doing all the things, but then the other baby feels neglected, and it's this back and forth where you can't quite catch up. So what do I say? I feel bad even recording this podcast. Nobody wants to hear this. Nobody's going to be like, great, Kirsten, thanks for the feedback. But maybe there's just a sense of it won't last forever. Maybe there's a sense of what can I learn by seeing my resources clearly, by noticing my fancy footwork, by noticing where I'm trying to juggle a little too much. And I think maybe the key message, besides it doesn't have to be so heavy, it doesn't have to be so dry and all consuming. So it might serve you well to get in the ocean. It might serve you well to go put your feet on the earth. There's something about that disconnect. You get wrapped up in these resources, wrapped up in this earthly challenge, and you forget that you're of the earth. You forget that you're in a system. So it's the interesting shadow around self-reliance where you might feel like I can handle a lot, but I don't want to be handling a lot by myself. And it's interesting because it came up last week, the Three of Wands. There was really this sense of waiting for the resources to join you, the supplies to join you, the companions to join you. You're setting off on this new path, and you're some of us that are waiting for something to finish falling into place where you feel like you have everything you need. Your pack is fully packed. And there's something about this energy that feels like there's a delay in the start time because you're overwhelmed with the resource management. And again, if you feel separated, you feel a little bit on your own. And again, there's something beautiful about that you can trust yourself and rely on yourself. But there's something fundamentally lonely about that. And it doesn't surprise me that if we're learning how to center authority in our own system, that we're going to be a little confused about how to do that and also stay connected, also stay in community, also stay like nested into the larger environment. And there's something about the way you're managing resources, your body, your money, your time, your world, your home, the people that you love, the people that you reach out and touch in your life, that's out of whack. And it's requiring more energy than you want to give it. And so there's this natural maybe reordering of where you put your attention, what resources need you, what needs to be tended to, and what needs to be left on its own to develop and figure itself out. It's a tough one, guys. This energy's tough. It's heavy. That's like the strongest, like what I said before about where's the whimsy? Where's like the playfulness and the hopefulness? And maybe that's part of the lesson. Note if you're taking things too seriously this week. Allow yourself some space for whimsy. Allow yourself some space for magic. Allow yourself some space for nature. Just notice when it starts to feel like a real crunch and, do what you got to do to lighten up a little bit. I say that and I have the feeling in my body like that doesn't feel fair to ask you to do that either. So this is a tricky one. It's not a hard one like, oh my God, we're facing the tower and everything's going to fall apart. It's an everyday resource management drain that is coming online into view, and it can leave you feeling a little depleted. It kind of lines up with tax season. And I guess it lines up with the Emperor month. There's something about this isolation, something about you considering yourself a closed system. So just noticing where you might be able to ask for help, where you might be able to expect resources to come in from another direction. Just there's something here getting juggled around, and it will behoove you to pay attention and notice it and really notice the quality, the texture of the exchange and the quality and the texture of your own embodiment as you're moving through the day. And good luck. I love you guys. So let's see what happens. Maybe there's just a rejuggling, reallocation of resources that comes up, and maybe we're just finding balance in a new way. That would be my hope for us. And if it's a little bit of a heavier, kind of more burdensome week, that's okay. It's not going to last forever. You'll figure it out. You'll shake it up in the way you need to shake it up, and the world will shake it up in the way it needs to get shaken up. Okay. Not the most fun podcast, but I love you and I'm with you. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.